The 2023 tax season is approaching with high inflation that's still in place and recession worries that are looming. Millions of U.S. taxpayers could receive a tax refund shock when they file their 2022 returns due to the expiration of many pandemic benefits that lawmakers have designed to help Americans endure the crisis. Joining us now is the CEO and enrolled agent at Tax Focus Collab, Miguel Matos. And Miguel, yeah, I think a lot of people are really concerned right now. We've seen decent returns over the last couple of years, but we know that this year, not everybody knows. That's why this is breaking news for some people, that when you get to your pockets, you're not going to see the same amount of money that you normally got over recent times.
Absolutely. Many of the credits that were put in place as a result of the Jobs Act that was put in place a few years ago are just not there. They were greatly reduced or ultimately eliminated, such as the stimulus payments that were there for individuals for multiple years. They're just not going to have that type of cash flow this year. And companies know this and they're going to feel it, as well as the top, as well as the bottom, because people have less spending power.
Do you think that many people really are on top of this? Because I think there's a lot of mixed messages that have gone out throughout the course. We're doing better. It's not as bad. This, that, and the third. But when you're looking for that return, the possibility of having a limited return and/or owing is huge.
Absolutely, especially if you have not been making adjustments. Small business owners know this that they have to stay diligent on top of their estimated tax payments. And there's going to be a huge shift, which many economists are predicting in this coming year, 2023. And everyone's going to feel it from top to bottom. And the household in the Bronx, for the typical Bronx household, they're going to feel it in their tax return this year, most immediately.
Another group of people that are really focusing and getting ready for this is cryptocurrency investors. I mean, they've taken a hard and a huge hit as well. What's it look like for them? How are they going to be able to navigate? Thankfully, I'm not in that category. But for somebody who is, how do they navigate?
Well, this year, along with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, they're going to add about 87,000 new IRS agents. These are very smart people that they're going to hire, put on board, and they're going to look exactly at crypto and virtual currencies. Those type of transactions are going to be under the microscope. A lot of this industry is heavily unregulated. We just see the arrest of Sam Bankman-Fried. He's also just been released. But this is a serious topic that the IRS is going to take a hard look at. If you look at the 2022 1040 tax return, the fifth question is, do you own or transact in virtual currency? This year, for the first time alone, that question supersedes the question about your children, which is amazing because children have always been a hot topic with the IRS. Now the hot topic is virtual and cryptocurrencies. Enforcement's coming down the line, absolutely.
Well, while people are watching out for enforcement, people have also been trying to watch out and deal with inflation. How is this going in regards to inflation? Talk to me a little bit about the Inflation Reduction Act. There are some provisions that are actually there. What is the Inflation Reduction Act and what are the provisions?
All right, so when you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, some of the major pillars of the Inflation Reduction Act is what I see is climate change and energy. So they're making that one of the high pillars of the Reduction Act, so in that way they can create a better future. So how are they going to find funding for all this? Well, one of the things is through IRS enforcement and additional taxation. What they're doing is they're going to start taxing companies that report a book balance of $1 billion or more. They're going to have to pay tax on that book balance, not the taxable balance, which is something completely different. We see that game being played in Trump's tax returns. So maybe Trump, under this new year, would have to pay more taxes. Another pillar of that Inflation Reduction Act is healthcare funding and expansion. The ACA will continue to flourish for another few years. That's been a major staple point for many people. It continues to help some of our much needed communities. And of course, in the Inflation Reduction Act is healthcare empowerment. What they're going to do is they're going to empower the US government, specifically Medicaid, to have stronger negotiating power when it comes to the top 10 or 20 drugs that they'll be purchasing on behalf of so many people. Drug prices are a huge indicator of inflation. And if you really look at these companies, some of the top 10 and 20 drugs that are purchased by the government on behalf of the people or subsidized in one shape or form have been rising in price far greater than the natural rate of inflation. Some of these drugs go up 6 to 15% in a single year. So this is what's causing inflation. And the Inflation Reduction Act is meant to address this issue specifically.
Well, when we take a look at when we take a look at the middle class, obviously this is a group of people that have seen the up and down pretty much a lot through the course of the last couple of years. When we look at the tax season this year, what can you tell middle class people?
I can tell middle class people to continue to save and invest their funds. Right now, it is a down economy, but what this is an opportunity. So if you can save extra money, invest it wisely, and hopefully once you reach a certain point of investing, then you should jump into something such as real estate, which is something that I promote heavily as the most sound investment out there.
Yeah. Well, I know that we talked about the middle class, but if you're going to talk to me a little bit about the middle class, talk to me a little bit about small business because those have been greatly impacted. You've had some small businesses that have received financial assistance throughout the course of this pandemic to help them through, but all businesses have not gotten that. And since all businesses haven't gotten that, when it comes tax time, people are looking for help.
I suggest for small businesses to make sure they can put together a list of all the initiatives that's gone out within the past 1 or 2 years and check off, make sure you check if those initiatives are still in existence, such as the New York State Seed Grant is still out there taking applications, such as the Employer Retention Tax Credit. If maybe you run into your typical tax preparer that cannot handle that credit, maybe you find yourself another tax preparer that can walk you through that. Some of these measures are still in place from COVID. However, they are expiring. So making sure you are on top of your bookkeeping, on top of your finances, and on top of the resources that are out there available to you as a small business, because there are plenty, make sure you find those and access those immediately before they come into expiration.
I want to go back to two things we talked about a little while ago. And one of those things that you talked about, which I think needs some repeating, is the fact that the federal government is hiring more IRS agents to look at tax returns, scrutinize tax returns. This is something that many Americans really need to be paying attention to. And also, if I have a small business.
Yes, I actually, being an accounting, finance, and economics major, I love it. It's going to help our industry grow and flourish. So if you're a young college student studying accounting, finance, or economics, this is the opportunity for you. Or if you are a tax professional, such as myself, they're hiring 87,000 people, and when there's job shortages in certain industries, it's a great opportunity. That's the way I look at it, as an opportunity for some people in our community to grow and develop a skill in finance and accounting. Now, from a small business perspective, Janet Yellen promises that they will not aim at any businesses making less than 400,000. There are watchdog agencies making sure that they do not step across that boundary and do not target small businesses making less than 400,000. However, there are a lot of small businesses by definition that make more than 400,000. These guys need to make sure that their records are up to date, they're keeping receipts, and they're fully in compliant in all manners of business, whether it's an industry compliant or a government agency compliance. They need to be on their toes at all times through the next coming years because there is enforcement coming down. It's one of the pillars of the Inflation Reduction Act.
I only got a couple of seconds left, but I got to get a quick answer from you on this one here. Future of cryptocurrency. What are we thinking is going to happen down the line?
The future of cryptocurrency, it is going to be here to stay long term. However, there are going to be less currencies. We're going to find out what other true currencies are out there. Bitcoin is still one of them. That is the root of many of these, and you're just going to see the scam type currencies. They're eventually going to die out, and the industry is looking for regulation. So with regulation comes soundness, and investors love sound footing when it comes to their investments.
Miguel, we're going to have you back. Definitely thank you for breaking down a lot that's going on during this tax season. As we get closer to that deadline, I think we're going to need you back. So stay close by.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, now, if you want more information, you can visit the website at taxfocuscollab.com. Also, follow him on Instagram at taxfocus.m.